Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I am a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the Taurus New Moon for 2020, occurring on April 22nd, 2020, 10:25 p.m. Eastern Time. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please use a time zone converter to find the local time wherever you are. This Taurus new moon is the second new moon of the astrological new year, um, and is the first feminine full moon of the year. Taurus is the first feminine sign of the zodiac. Aries is the first masculine sign of the zodiac, and you can, Google which signs are feminine, which signs are masculine. But this bears some interesting energies, primarily because it's feminine forms of leadership that are being highly called upon at this time, as we're going to see in this chart, that will support us in reclaiming and restoring and renewing and rebuilding our lives in a new fashion and in a new way forward. So here's this new moon. It is taking place right here alongside Uranus in the feminine sign of Taurus. Here is the moon and the sun sitting together, conjunct Uranus. Taurus as a sign is typically representative of our values and the human body itself, in addition to things that we value, like our time, our money, and our energy. I remember a while back in my life, I became a student of money and value and the way money operates. And, I was really seeking wisdom and divine guidance on why money works the way it does. What is it? What is the nature of money? And I remember at that time that the divine really revealed to me that money, time, and energy are all resources, and how we treat one tends to be how we also treat the others. And that when we overuse one, we tend to backfill with one of the others. So if we take up too much time doing something, we try to make up for that lost time by spending money on conveniences that we normally wouldn't spend money on. Or if we spend too much money on something, then we end up needing to spend more time making up the money that had previously been misused. And so, with this new moon in Taurus this year, speaking with Uranus, which is the divine consort of Gaia, Uranos, or the heavens, is the energy or the entity that wraps around Gaia as her lover and co-creates with her. In this very feminine sign of Taurus, which is all about our values and how we're using those values, there is an energy of the stroke of divine genius and divine insight around ways in which we must begin to utilize our resources, time, money, and energy. You can even include health, the body in here. We must be able to use the things that we value in ways that are more aligned with our divinity, with the divine self that we've been created to be. This moon conjunct Uranus is asking us to have a look for the patterns, because in our 3D world, because Taurus is an earth signs are material signs, they rule the 3D world. It's asking us to have a look at the patterns that no longer serve our ascension and no longer serve our amplification of the vibration of love via how we're utilizing time, money, energy, the body, and our health. This new moon is also trine Pholus. So you can find the Centaur Pholus here at the 4th degree of Capricorn. It's also squaring Saturn in fixed sign Aquarius as well. And this too brings forward some very interesting energy, because when you combine all of this, there's a recognition of where we're no longer willing to be the collateral damage of someone else not being conscious and in their patterns or acting in their divinity. There's a recognition of the ways in which, hey, I believe I've been getting the short end of the stick here, and I've been exposing myself to people who either lacked boundaries or whose boundaries were so rigid that I always had to compromise mine in order to be in connection. And so this new moon is showing us both sides of that coin, with the stark recognition that, oh, I can't continue to sacrifice myself and my divinity so that you can be okay. I can't continue to sacrifice my growth and my expression of my divine life purpose so that other people can thrive. There has to be a way forward that is both and, that allows me to be all of me and allows you to be all of you. That's the energy of this new moon. It's the energy of finding both and starting ways forward that build on both and, as opposed to either or. This sextile to Ceres here, also late degree Aquarius, very early. It's almost to Pisces, not quite, but almost. It's within orb, as we astrologers like to say, is also bringing divine insight around wounds that we have in relationship to concepts of motherhood. Either wounds that we need to mother ourselves or patterns with our mothers that must come to an end. For some people, this may also be the recognition that you are going to become a mother at this time, or ways that you have been a mother is not really aren't really working for your children. And so all of this divine insight, as the Uranus new moon or this new moon conjunct Uranus speak to the mother asteroid of the zodiac, Ceres, also known as Persephone. So big, big, big conversations here about nurturing, and how do we take care of and how do we nurture what matters to us. In the mythology, Ceres was the goddess that taught humans how to plant, how to know when a harvest is ripe, how to bring the harvest in, how to store harvests, so that humans on Earth didn't have to be hunter-gatherers. They could move into a more agrarian lifestyle that afforded them more time to learn and study and become more like the gods of Mount Olympus. And so Ceres here, speaking in harmony with this new moon, is asking us to have a look for how can we evolve the ways we're nourishing ourselves and our lives so that we have more time to be an expression of our divine life purpose, and our divine soul purpose. What is it we've come here to do, and how can we arrange our life circumstances accordingly so that we might be able to deliver on these things? That's the overarching energy of this new moon, is really cleaning up leaks in our, how to put it, in the way we spend our energy and use our energy, and really start sealing up those holes so that we can give more abundantly, both to ourselves and to another. You'll notice here that over here on the far side of the chart that this is a more earth sign moon than anything else. And so these leaks and the places where we're being asked to look have to do with the world of the 3D realm. So the physical body, definitely money, certainly food and the way we're eating and how we're utilizing food to take care of our physical bodies, how we're utilizing our money. How do we direct it in this new era and in this new way forward? How do we direct our money so that our money can better take care of and allow us to be fuller expressions of our soul purpose? For some of you, this will have to do with home and the physical building that you live within, as there may be a recognition, um, that there needs to be some sort of clearing in your home or a new home or things that need to get cleaned up in the home, purged, released. Some of you may be needing to prepare to sell your home. All of these kinds of things are part of this new moon's gift to us. It's the gift of finding new ways to prepare ourselves to be an expression of the divine on planet Earth. What else did I want to say about that? Yes. This new moon comes with a few different choices, and I'll speak to those in a minute. But ultimately, we're being asked or given a choice to either anchor in these new changes in the 3D material world or to continue to solidify our codependence on things that allowed us to not have to change, not have to evolve. Unfortunately, that's a choice that can be made. Many people choose, to find new ways to not have to deal with old wounds. And, okay, so I can't, be a workaholic around it. I can't, stay at the office for 10, 15, 20 hours or however many. I'll just sprout up another addiction. I'll have a food addiction for a little while. And I spoke about this at length at the Libra full moon, and to some degree in the Aries new moon, as those were the new and the full moon that began our astrological year. That, none of us really woke up one day and said, I want to be codependent. These are things that occur for us in response to a wound that hasn't been properly taken care of and healed. And so, if during this time, um, there's a recognition and a nagging in the back of the mind that there's something that we need to deal with or look at, maybe some sort of financial either wound or codependence or some sort of relationship to food and body wound or codependence, some sort of, home wound or codependence that's going on. This is the new moon that is imbuing you with tons of energy to be able to finally, once and for all, break the cycle. Okay. But change is coming either way. And so this catalyst moment is really asking us, who do we want to be in the years to come and in the months to come? Earth is sitting here in the sign of Scorpio, right opposite this new moon, as it always does. It sits opposite the new moon. But Scorpio is all about alchemy, change, transformation. It is the death and other side and rebirth cycle. So that allows us to put certain things to rest, and then they get alchemized inside the cocoon, and then they come out the other side for new life. So, big energy here around giving ourselves permission to change, and it can be clumsy at first. New cults don't know how to use their their legs. Sometimes they fall down. Babies fall down when they try to walk the first few times. We fall off a bike. But nonetheless, if we keep at this, we will be met with divine support, especially with Uranus conjunct this new moon. Divine support is willing to meet us more than halfway, provided we're willing to do our part and just start. Just try something new today. Just give ourselves a chance to begin that new project, start that new business, take that step with the money that you know you've needed to take, start that diet or change that eating plan, whatever it is in the physical world that you've just known has needed to happen for some time. If we just start, the universe will definitely help us. Okay? Okay, so a few other energies going on here during this new moon. We've got Venus square Vesta, or wait a second, that's not a square. So here's Venus in Vesta here. Okay, and then, oh yeah, it's a square. Here's Nessus. So much fun, so little fun, really. And Nessus is really kind of talking to Neptune. So I've said this quite a bit in other videos. Anytime we have a square or an opposition, the energy ends up finding itself playing out in avenues of tension. Now, the tension and the challenge and the complication is actually good. It's healthy for us. It provides the energy needed for motivation. As one of my favorite astrology teachers says, Nadia Shah, that this tension lends itself to the motivation to finally and once and for all change, to do what we have to do to move forward. Nessus and Neptune here give us it's the energy of obsessing about illusions, obsessing about the unseen world. In shadow, this can really be about wanting to take no changes in the physical world and instead feel like we can just pray our way through this. When in actuality, all major faith traditions say to some degree that faith without works is dead. It is required that we also demonstrate our faith as an action and a verb, not just pray. And then this Venus and Vesta conjunction here in the sign of Gemini lends itself to a lot of commitment to our ideas and the things that we value. Now, the highest level octave and vibration that this can play out in has to do with a spiritual commitment to our values and utilizing that commitment to uncover and unearth ways that we've compromised ourselves during this new moon, ways that we have fallen short of our values and our ideals for ourselves and who we are and how we want to live. This energy can certainly, it's like the dog that peed in the living room and the owner is like, we are not moving until you look at this and understand that this is not going to work. Or not the owner, but the pet parent, I should say. These two have the opportunity to help us stop pooping in our own living room. On the flip side, this can be quite a bit of an obsession with things that aren't real in the 3D world. Excuse me, I had to cough there. An obsession with illusion and obsession with things that aren't true and getting ourselves hung up in mental loops that undermine our ability to live our values. So again, with all energies in the chart, the way I read is that astrology isn't destiny. It is the blueprint that shows us, kind of where the walls are in a dark space. So we get the choice. How do we want to use the energy? It's complex, it's pushy energy, it is challenging energy. But in the face of any challenge, we're asked, are we going to rise to the occasion or not? Are we going to sit this one out? We get what we put in, right? And so if we want higher level vibrations to come back to us from the universe, we need to rise to the challenges put forward to us. Okay? And so this can also be the resurgence of some of our patterns of addictive thinking regarding love or money or our bodies. And so, if you have addictive thinking around, self-hate or body image or, body dysmorphia, where you're constantly putting yourself down. This particular new moon is giving you the motivation and the energy needed to write those affirmations, create that affirmation recording for yourself and re-listen to it every night. Put those affirmations up on a mirror for yourself. Interrupt the pattern, for example. Okay. This can also be a resurgence, I think, as I said, of our old codependencies or old coping mechanisms. So, again, to use the body image food thing, if food is a comfort for you, if food is something that you eat beyond just nourishment, if, we're sitting in our homes and eating out of anxiety or trying to eat our way through anxiety or eat our way through depression or eat our way through um, utilizing food to avoid thoughts we'd rather not think about our marriage or our kids or the schools they're in or the neighborhood we live in or the house we live in. Those kinds of dependencies around food, sex, love, money, whatever. This new moon can cause those things to arise and kind of really rear their head. It can also really bring about a little bit of an energy of unrequited love and a little bit of obsessive thinking about a person who's not available, or a life that we have yet to be able to manifest and live financially. It can bring a bit of that with the Venus square Mars. Um, but now that, we're discussing this and that this is what's going on, it's coming up so that you can call in the divine and do the work you have to do to change it, to become a different person. And that work is things that you must do in the 3D world because this is such a heavy earth sign moon. Okay. This energy is also this Venus and Vesta square. Square Nessus and Neptune is also making a trine energy here to Mars. So this is harmonious energy to Venus and Vesta. And this, I love this because anytime we have trines, trines and sextiles are energies that flow more easily astrologically. And so with Venus and Mars having a conversation, that's just passion. It's the passion and the drive and the mental capacity to really overcome. Both of these being air signs, this is passion in the mind. It's the mental fortitude to be able to direct our steps in a new way. And this is, the will to try new things because we have access to newer thinking. And so again, with the obsession and the addiction thing, if you recognize that you've constantly got the TV or the Netflix or something on in the background or music or something, and this is not helping you think, this might be the opportunity to just try turning it off for 24 hours and see what new thoughts arise, see what comes up, either in the obsessive thinking department that you'd like to transform, or in the department of things that need to be dealt with that were wounds that that codependency was placing a mask over. This new moon, if you give it the chance, really has the capacity to bust you free, because your mind has the capacity under this new moon to be busted out of jail. So, whatever your form of mental jail is, this new moon has the capacity to give you the strength, the mental fortitude and redirection and new thoughts to get into a new place and to finally get the wheels to touch down on a new path. Our nodes here, here's one other interesting energy here that symbolizes this new beginning energy. We've got the North Node and the South Node. The nodes are at that final degree of Capricorn and Cancer, before they make that transition into Gemini and Sagittarius and start us into, I think it's about a 20-month long, maybe 24-month long Sagittarius Gemini cycle. And with the nodes moving into Sagittarius and Gemini, we're finally done with lessons in the collective around emotions and family and home and structure and work. And we're moving into a series of lessons around our thinking and our thought patterns and our freedom of thought and our capacity to speak and understand the way we conduct our mind and our mouths to cultivate a world that is of the fashion of the divine under this new moon. And that's really a huge gift. The Sagittarius Gemini energy, Gemini really loves the exploration. It loves the opportunity to think things through and talk things through and explore both sides. Sagittarius, on the other hand, wants to make decisions. It will discuss only to the point a decision can be made and a singular direction can be followed. Gemini wants to be able to follow the both and. Sagittarius says they are both part of a higher directive and a higher mission. So there's a call here toward unity consciousness, as well as an awakening and an awareness around the way our minds and our mouths work to call that forward. I believe there's a piece of there's many teachers and many faith traditions that speak to the idea that the power of life and death lives in the tongue, but control over the tongue sits in the mind. And to the degree that our minds are not free, neither will be our lives. And so understanding that this is the new moon via which we have the capacity to set ourselves free. This new moon is giving us the opportunity to nurture our lives in a brand new direction. This is huge. It's a watershed moment for all of us and a huge gift. So with this final degree, nodes in the final degrees of Cancer and Capricorn, we are being asked, did we learn what we had to learn during the Capricorn Cancer nodal cycle and eclipse cycle about honoring our emotions and the truth of what our emotions are? Did we get ourselves into emotional integrity? Did we say and do what it was that we felt was true, or did we betray ourselves? It's also asking us, are the structures of our lives a reflection of those emotional truths? Because it is really imperative that coming out of this moment of collective crisis, that our lives are a reflection of those truths, and nothing is going to ask that more of us than a Gemini Sagittarius nodal cycle. They both really love to be anchored in and explore truth, even when they're exploring truths that seem paradoxical. And that's the Gemini energy there. So New beginnings all around abound in this chart in more ways than one. But we do have a choice point energy here, and that's this Pluto here in Capricorn square Eris. And so they're not acting alone. You know, Eris is acting here with Mercury. It'd be so nice if I could draw correctly, but hey, you guys love me, right? You're gonna give me a pass on my drawing. You can see what I'm what I'm trying to accomplish here. And then next to Pluto, we have Jupiter here. Um, and so the Pluto square Eris energy, I'll address that first because they're both sitting at that 23rd degree, one of Capricorn and one of Aries. The square between these two cardinal signs, and remember, cardinal signs are about initiative, they're about beginnings. Eris is about that energy of disenfranchisement that lashes out to make sure she's included a seat at the table. She's also storm. She is the energy of retaliation and disharmony. We've also got Pluto here, Lord of the Underworld, that which governs all things that are dead and gone. With the two of these in a square, Aries, the sign of the self, Capricorn, the sign of structure, business, and work. There is, whoo, Lord, this is like self destruction energy at its finest. Um, because this is a square, it's providing a lot of tension and a lot of motivation um, around recognizing where some of the structures of our world of work and who we are just no longer serve who we are. Like we have been allowing ourselves to be party to our own demise when it comes to our work for far too long. Now, some of you are going to be recognizing this, and you've known this for some time. These two are not in a new square, not by any stretch. In fact, they're going to be in square all the rest of this year, and they were within orb all of 2019 and moving within orb by 2018. So this energy has been here for some time. It is in a precise and exact square at this moment. They're both at 24 degrees and 59 seconds of their respective signs. Oh, well, Pluto's at 24 degrees, 59 seconds. Eris is at 23 degrees, 59 seconds. What this is saying to us is that for some of us, the structures of our work world and work environment has been such a sacrifice. It has taken so much from us that it's been causing us to self-destruct. And this new moon is asking us, so are we done yet? Are you done self-destructing so that this job can have what it needs and your soul can wither on the vine with its gifts? Can we cut that out? Can we maybe try starting this new business? Even if now's not the time to fully launch, maybe we can file for that patent. Maybe we can build that pitch deck. Maybe we can spend some time after everyone's asleep researching, competitor ideas. Has anything like this been done before? Maybe we can do the graphic design we need to on our logo. Maybe we can stop sacrificing ourselves long enough on someone else's altar to really hear our soul calling and take that step today. That's what this energy is asking us to do. And so there's this choice here. Look, either we're going to destroy our old self-limiting patterns in the world of work, and for some of you, this is straight up about your family structures, because the opposing sign, Cancer, is also impacted and indicated here. For others of you, this is also about your relationships, because the opposing sign to Eris is the partnership sign, Libra. The question is, are we going to finally destroy our old self-limiting patterns, give them up to Pluto, or are we going to carry on those codependencies and let them destroy us? There is a choice, and there is no in between at this time. There's just not. We need to choose. Are we on our side and the side that the divine has given us for our soul mission and our soul path, or are we not? Are we choosing to opt out? That's the choice. It's really clear under this new moon where the path ends if we continue to do things as we've always been doing them. And many of you know, you've heard that saying, the definition of insanity: keep doing the same things, expecting a different result. This is the moment for change with Uranus conjunct this new moon. This new moon, the gift of it as well, because Mercury is here. Mercury's sitting in the sign of the self, conjunct Eris. Mercury is mind and communication, mouth and mind. Remember, power of life and death lives in the tongue. Control over the tongue lives in the mind. Our capacity to really create new worlds and new ways forward is here. The awareness is here. It's not hanging out in the ether the way it was a month ago in this very spiritual sign of the unseen world, Pisces. No, mind has emerged, and mind is now hanging out in the sign of the self and bringing illumination, I should say, to our souls and who we're meant to be. And asking us, can we say the words that we have to say in order to be the person we were always meant to be? All right. And then I believe, is this the final energy here? Almost. So Chariklo conjunct Pallas. This, I think I've mentioned this. Chariklo's role here is like my favorite of the entire year, the entire wheel of the year. So Pallas Athena, she is the goddess of war, but she's also known as the protector. She is the protector of the forest. She is the protector of all things vulnerable. And Chariklo here, she is the handmaiden to Athena, and she is the divine intercessor. And then we've got Saturn here sitting so close to the two of them, who is the governor of integrity, structure. Excuse me. Saturn is the governor of boundaries, and the master of order and time. With these three sitting together, there is a little whisper in the ethers saying that the divine wants to give back what we have lost and wants to also honor the efforts of things we have toiled for and worked towards. That's Saturn, as long as it's been in integrity with who we are and our soul. So I love that. I love that. There's so much magic in that. There's so much promise in the recognition that if we are honoring our soul and doing our soul work, the universe wants to meet us halfway, more than halfway. It wants to carry us. If we're willing to jump, the universe is willing to give wings. And that's the real gift here under this new moon. So yeah, this is a real gifted and special time. This Jupiter-Pluto, which is in effect all year long, is breaking down structures that no longer serve us, and sharing with us all that there has to be a new normal after this. Whatever it was pre-lockdown, pre-pandemic, pre-quarantine, pre-economic collapse, whatever it was, we cannot go back to that. That's done. It's over. All planets have now, see them all here as I'm showing you, all planets have now passed through the gates of Hades. They've passed through the gates of Pluto, the Lord of the underworld, and now they're all being asked to rebirth and align with a higher mirror image of our soul. That's what we're being asked to do here. There has to be a new normal. Whatever it was before this is done, is over. We have to grieve that in whichever way is appropriate for your soul and for your spirit. These are not easy deaths. Grieving them is what's on the agenda right now so that we can utilize the mind and the mouth to build our new way forward. Use speech and mind to create our new worlds and our next steps. That's what the gift of this new moon is to finally lay all of this to rest, lay that old way of living in the world of our dependencies and who we are, our relationships and who we were connected with and how we were connected, the way we worked, and the functioning, bleh, functional and dysfunctional patterns of relationship and family. You see, these are all the cardinal signs impacted by this energy. These things, it's time to create a new path forward. And that's what the nodes are asking us to do, to find ourselves in truth. And with this new moon, start charting the new path forward. Thank you so much for listening, watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing. There's definitely available appointments for this Taurus new moon in my calendar if you'd like to do a personal reading, to think through how you can organize these energies to lay certain things to rest and build what's required of you in the future. This is a great new moon to get a personal reading and to be able to do that, because this new moon really is asking you to engage with your mind so that you can manifest in the 3D world what your new beginning is going to be and how you can take advantage of this time to really propel yourself forward. I look forward to hearing how all of this resonates for you in the comments below. And if you'd like to book that personal reading, just email me at chrysalismoon, KRYSALISMOON @gmail.com. We'll get you set up. You'll get an autoresponder that tells you how to book first. And after you get that autoresponder and you make your payment, I'll set you up with a link to the calendar so you can schedule your time. I look forward to reading for you. Take great care and bye for now.